Hi and welcome! My name is Demi and today I'm going to show you how to make these delicious Oreo cupcakes. These cupcakes are fluffy, they are moist, they're everything you could ever want, so I thought I would share with you the recipe today. So small disclaimer, today I'm only going to be making 6 cupcakes. However, the quantities that I will tell you and the ones that are down below will be for a dozen cupcakes. It's just that I'm currently in quarantine with my boyfriend and we could eat 12 cupcakes together, but we're not going to. But again, I will tell you the quantities as if I was making a dozen, so if you just listen while you bake along, then you should be fine. And if you want to make 6 like me, you'll have to calculate that for yourself. Also, I will be referring to the quantities in grams because I live in the Netherlands and we use grams. But if you want to know what the quantities are in cups, you can look in the description box down below. Alright, let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is preheat your oven to 170 degrees Celsius or 340 degrees Fahrenheit. Once you've got your oven preheating, we're going to go ahead and mix all the ingredients together in this bowl. So we're going to go ahead and start adding 125 grams of unsalted butter. It's very important that it's room temperature, because if you end up adding really cold butter, it's going to separate from the mixture and then you're going to get pools of butter in your cupcakes, which from experience I can tell you, you do not want. After that, we're going to go ahead and add the same amount, which is 125 grams of granulated sugar. So just drop that in there. And after that, we're going to go ahead and add our flour, which is a self-rising flour, and we're going to add the same amount, which is 125 grams of the flour. So we're going to use a sieve so we don't want any lumps in it. So we're just going to put that on top of there. There's already rising agents in the flour itself, but we're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. And we're going to go ahead and add a pinch of salt to the mixture as well. So both baking soda and salt are in here. I'm going to add that on top of the flour. And then we're just going to sieve it. It's always the most fun thing to do. If you got any lumps on top, you can just use a spoon or whatever. I'm eating these myself, so I'm just going to press it down with my fingers. Not very sanitary, but again, I'm only eating these, otherwise I would use a spoon. And the last thing we're going to add for now is 2 eggs. Dump the eggs in the mixture. Alright, then we're going to go give this a mix. You're going to mix this for 1 minute at a medium speed, so not too high, not too low. I'm using my KitchenAid, obviously you can use a hand mixer. Put this down and mix. Alright, after it's mixed a minute, we're going to go ahead and add in a tablespoon and a half of milk and a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So I'm going to add those 2 combined in here. And we're going to go mix this mixture for another half a minute. Alright, after it's mixed all together, it's going to look nice and white, and it's not going to be too volumized because you're not mixing it long enough to be like completely fluffy, but that's the whole point, because if you mix this for a really long time, let's say you're going to mix this for like 5 minutes, you get a really fluffy mixture, but what that leads up to is a very fluffy cupcake that's going to sink, and you don't want that. So now the mixture looks something like this. That's what we want. Let's take this off before it's going to inevitably spill. And then we're going to go ahead and add our Oreos, obviously. So our Oreos are the most important part to these cupcakes, and these are the Oreos. They're chopped. As you can see, they're honestly not chopped up very finely. They're honestly pretty coarse. And for a dozen, we're going to go ahead and add 12. So 1 Oreo per cupcake chopped, and we're going to add that to the mixture. So we're just going to go dump in those Oreos. Like so, and then we're just going to go ahead and mix it in. You don't want to keep mixing it with the electric mixer. Like I said, you don't want to get it too volumized, you just want to get it nice like so. Alright, now we have our Oreo mixture for the cupcakes, and we're going to go ahead and add that to our tins. I'm using an ice cream scoop, but if you have spoons or forks or whatever, it's all good, doesn't matter. I'm just going to use my ice cream scoop for now. And you're going to want to add about, I don't know, blob. And you want it to be pretty full, but not completely, because it doesn't have to like explode, obviously. So you're going to go ahead and try and make it into like 2/3, 3/4 full, maybe. You're going to want to make sure, obviously, that you're going to get Oreos in each and every cupcake. You don't want to make anybody upset because I didn't get any Oreos in a cupcake. So make sure you get Oreo pieces in each and every one of your cupcake forms. So we're gonna go put these in the oven for about 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, you're gonna go ahead and take a toothpick or something sharp and put it in the cupcakes. And if it comes back clean and there's nothing on it, they're done. If not, you're gonna go ahead and put them in the oven for 1 or 2 more minutes. In the meantime, I'm gonna go clean things up and put my stuff ready for the buttercream so we can make the buttercream together after putting these in the oven. So as you can see, I've cleaned up a little bit. Also, I have put on the table the ingredients we're gonna need for our buttercream, which I will now show you how to make. And the cupcakes are done. They were in the oven for 20 minutes. They look amazing. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and make our buttercream and decorate these. First things first, we're gonna go start with our butter. You're gonna need 200 grams of butter. We're gonna just dump it into our mixing bowl. Again, this has to be room temperature, just like the butter had to be room temperature for the cupcakes. So we're gonna go put our butter in the bowl. And then we're gonna go ahead and mix it. So the trick to good buttercream is honestly just mixing it for long enough. When I started off baking, I would just mix my buttercream for 1 or 2 minutes. That is not enough at all. You need to mix it somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes. I usually do about 5 or 6 minutes, and then I add the powdered sugar in stages and mix it for another couple of minutes each. But in any case, mix it for at least 5 minutes at a medium speed, and you should be good. Alright, so 5 minutes later, it looks a lot whiter, it looks a lot more silky, it looks, I don't know if you can see that very well, but it just looks very different from the butter you put in it. So next we're going to add our powdered sugar. So you're going to want to add 280 grams of powdered sugar. Whenever I see American buttercream recipes, there's always so much powdered sugar in it. Like it's typically more than twice the amount of butter. Maybe it's because I'm not American, but it's super sweet. It's way too sweet for me. So that's not what we're gonna do. We're gonna go add 280 grams to 200 grams butter. So not even close to twice as much because that's way too much. Specifically because we're also going to be adding crushed Oreos later on. So your powdered sugar you're gonna add in stages of 2 or 3 depending on how much you have. So you're just gonna add some in. I've sifted it already, so you have to sift it because otherwise you're gonna go and get lumps, which you don't want. So I'm gonna go do 2 or 3 maybe portions. Anyway, I've added some. I'm gonna go mix. You're gonna start, don't make the classic mistake of starting on high. It's powdered, it's gonna go everywhere. You're gonna start on very low. And once it's incorporated enough, you can speed it up. We're gonna go mix this for 2 to 3 minutes. So after mixing it a couple of minutes, you're gonna go and add the next portion. I think I'm just gonna dump it all in. I don't have as much, but if you're doing the dozen cupcakes, you should probably divide it up in 3 portions. And we're gonna go do the same thing. We're gonna go turn it on a very low speed to incorporate all the sugar. And once all the sugar has been incorporated, we can go speed it up and we're gonna go mix it for another 2 or 3 minutes. Alright, so once that's done, you've got a pretty nice looking buttercream already. It's really white, it's really glossy, as you can see. It's already looking really good, but it's quite thick. And also there's stuff to the sides. I don't know if you can see that very well. There's like, you know, butter to the sides. So what we're gonna go do is we're gonna scrape down the sides to make sure everything is incorporated, all the butter, all the sugar. And once we've done that, we're gonna go and add our milk. And the amount of milk is dependent on where you are, how warm it is, how thick your buttercream is. So for me right now, my buttercream is relatively thick because I don't live in a super warm country and it hasn't been very warm. I would suggest to add 3 to 4 tablespoons of milk. You just start off with maybe 2 and see how that goes. I'm gonna add about half of this for now. All right. And then we're gonna go and mix it for a few more minutes and see how the consistency is when it's done mixing and see if we like that. All right, so I think this looks really good. I did not use all of my milk. I could add a little bit more, but I think it's okay for now. Just make sure that your buttercream doesn't end up being too sloppy. You want it to be quite thick. You want it to be this glossy, this thick. It looks really nice. It's really spreadable. So I've got my buttercream over here. If you want to add more sugar, you can always add more sugar. I just think this is already really sweet. So it's already looking really good, but obviously there's one ingredient missing, and that is the crushed Oreos. So for the cupcakes, I use quite big pieces of Oreo. I just kind of chop them and that's it. But for the buttercream, you need it to be really, really, really fine, like sand almost. I don't know if you can see that, but it's like sand. And the reason is that we're gonna mix it with our buttercream. We're gonna go pipe it on the cupcakes with a piping tip, and if the pieces are really big, it's gonna clog up the piping tip and it's just not gonna work. So make sure you just pulverize them somehow. You can use a food processor, or what I did, I just used a Ziploc bag and I just put the Oreos in there and just crushed it with the rolling pin. So we're just gonna go ahead and add these to our buttercream. And we're gonna go just, I don't know why I just tapped that bowl, but good bowl. Anyway, now you want to use about 6 or 7 Oreos, I think, for a dozen cupcakes. Like, you don't need as many as you are putting in the cupcakes. And you can use this, you know, many as you want or as few as you want. If you just want to use 2 Oreos, that's also fine. If you want to use 12 Oreos, that's also fine. I just myself would recommend to add about 6, 7, 8 Oreos max. So it's looking amazing. It's looking like proper Oreo buttercream. It tastes amazing too, but we'll figure that out in a minute. And it looks just, can you see that? Yeah, look, it just looks so good. So next we're gonna go have to pipe this onto our cupcakes. You can just do it however you want. If you don't have a piping bag, you don't have a piping tip, you just wanna go to town, you can just obviously just put it on the cupcake. But I'm gonna go ahead and actually pipe it on. I've got a star tip, it's the 8B from Wilton. Let me show you. This is what it looks like. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this piping bag into this, yeah, it's a Starbucks cup, I think. Starbucks mug, I guess. I'm gonna go put it on there, because if I try to just hold it open and add it, it's just gonna get on the sides and it's gonna be all disgusting. So instead we're gonna do it like this. Just gonna put it in there. So you just grab some and you just put it in there. In Dutch we have a saying, kind kan de was doen, which means a child can do the laundry. It just means it's really easy. So when I'm doing this, like, kind kan de was doen, I'm like, yeah, this is really easy, you know? Anybody can do this. All right. Yeah. So we're gonna go put these aside. We're gonna go put this aside. And now all we have to do is just pipe this onto our cupcakes. So I'm not an expert at piping. I want to say that from the start. But I just like to make a little swoop. And you just kind of tip that off. And that's what you're gonna do. Or, you know, you can do whatever you want, like I said. Last buddy. All right, so these are our cupcakes. They are absolutely amazing. I love them so much. We're gonna go add one more thing. You don't have to do this, it's optional, but I got these mini Oreos. You can also just leave it like this, like I said, or you can take your full-size Oreos and chop them in half, but I'm gonna just take these and we're gonna go put a little Oreo on each of the cupcakes. Just press it into the buttercream. And 6. All right, that's it. That's the cupcakes done. This is what they look like. They are perfect. I love them so much. They smell amazing, but obviously I will also make sure to try one. I'm gonna take the whole thing off. Cupcake looks absolutely beautiful. It looks perfect with a perfect little swirl. And I will definitely try a bite. Mm. Yeah, it's really good. It's so good. The buttercream is super light and fluffy. It's absolutely amazing. I really love it. I suggest you go make it. and I will go finish this cupcake off screen. Thank you for watching, and if you liked the video, let me know. Like this video, subscribe, and I will make sure to keep doing this. Thanks guys. Bye. Last we're gonna add for now is an egg. Or sorry, is an egg. Alright, once you... This is so hard. Did it just move? Did the camera just move? That'd be odd. See that? Oh, that sucks a lot. So, mix it for at least 5 minutes. Oh. God dang it. Alright.